What's up? I'm going to make this video on cat rigging and using the cat rigger. There's tons of YouTube tutorials out there, but people keep asking me how to use it instead of looking it up, so I'm just going to make you guys a video here for y'all to use it as a reference, I guess. So first thing you want to do is go into here. We have this is a biped. This will be a biped rig. This was provided by my team's artist. Granted, she doesn't know that that's what she did, but don't worry about it. First thing you want to do is you see the pivot is in his armpit for some reason. So we're going to fix that. We're going to go hierarchy, pivot, effect pivot only, center to object. And then that's good. Then I'm going to hit Alt W to jump into the four windows. I'm going to go over to here to the wireframe, to the orthographic view. And we're just going to move him down as close to this bottom line down here as possible. So his x-axis, well, actually we can center him entirely on all the other axes to make sure he's truly centered. And then we're just going to lift him up and make sure his feet are as close to this point as possible. Just going to move down a little bit. There we go. We don't need these glasses, so I'm just going to hide them and also freeze them so I don't do anything with them. So now we have our blob model and he's ready to go. He's centered and everything. So next thing you need to do is you're going to hit create objects, this plus icon up here. Then we're going to go helpers. Then I already have it selected, but it will look like, come on, like this for you guys by default. So you're going to go click on this drop down menu, and we're going to go cat objects. Perfect. And then we're going to go create cat parent, which is this guy here. And we go boop. Now it's important that this arrow will always point forward. So you want to make sure your model is lined up with this parent. And in my case, homeboy here is going to be facing forward. This is his front. This side is his front, so he's already facing the right way. If he's not, you guys might want to rotate him and make sure the model's pointing forward when is aligned to this arrow. This is really important. So now that we have this made, you can go into Modify. Over here you can load pre-made rigs, and you can also save pre-made rigs. There is a base human in BIP01, but from our purposes, I'm going to show you guys how to build one from scratch. So first thing you want to do is hit create pelvis after you have this parent. So I hit click on this character 001. I can even change this to rig parent. Do not confuse that with the root. So you're going to click on this, select the arrow, and then create pelvis. Now you have cat rig hub 001. This is his pelvis, which is way the hell up here for some reason. So we don't need to mess with the body at all. So we're going to freeze him. We're also going to go display properties and make him see-through. You can display the wireframe if you need to by hitting F4. I don't really need to, I just like to. So first thing you want to do with this pelvis is go down here into the transform, zero it all out. Now it's in the middle, so we're going to lift it up to about where his pelvis should actually be. So using the orthographic views here is really helpful. So we're just going to center it. It's already pretty centered. Now, don't make the mistake of using the scale tool to size it. Like you can, but it's going to if you scale it up, you see how while here gets wider, over here gets thinner. You don't want that. That's bad. So what you instead want to do is change the length, width, and height. And your goal here is to expand his pelvis out just enough to it reaches the edge of the model. We'll say about there. That'll be his body, his pelvis. All right, cool. Next, we'll need to give him a leg. So let's hit add leg. Naturally, his leg's going to look chunky. That's because this guy is super chunky. But this is actually a good example. So in my case, I don't need this many bones, right? He does not need an ankle, so you can uncheck ankle. And the left, we can leave this the way it is, because this is his left leg. The number of bones, we only need one. Just like that. So now this guy's going to have one leg bone. He's going to have little stubs that are going to shimmy along the ground. So we're going to grab this IK target, this rectangle right here on the ground. This is called the IK target. You'll notice up here it's labeled as cat rig left leg platform. So you want to move this, not his leg. So we're just going to move that so it's centered. I'm actually going to freeze the rig parent and also hide it. So we're going to move this platform so that it is roughly in the middle of his foot right here is roughly in the center of the platform. Yeah, that's pretty good. Next, we want to adjust the leg itself. So you can notice up here you can change it. So we're just going to go ahead and grab this axis, pull that in, probably like that. That's probably okay. Click on the leg. Now we need to adjust the size of the leg. So just like before with the pelvis, you have length, width, and depth. Depth is the same as height. So we're just going to adjust the length here so it comes down. Probably don't need it so wide, so we're going to thin it out a little bit. Probably like that. That looks good. Actually, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and we're just going to scoot it back a little bit. Same with this IK target. Scoop this back a little bit. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Actually, you could even go a step further. I'm gonna grab this and just lower it so that the joint is actually underneath his pelvis. And then we're just gonna shorten the length so your goal here is to first move this IK target, this rectangle, to be centered on his foot. Then you want to adjust the leg so that the bottom of the foot, or the bottom of his leg, so you see it right here, bottom of this leg is for the most part in line with this IK target. You see it's not perfect here, but that's okay. So we'll go here, and we'll actually just lift this up a little bit, and then probably extend it just a tiny bit. Yeah, there you go. So now we need to make sure that we mirror this leg perfectly on the other side, or he's going to have a janky walk. So next thing you need to do, now once you're happy with the leg, is we'll go here, click on the pelvis, and then I'm going to hit add leg again, and then it poops out another one. Now you'll probably notice it's a little bit like lopsided. So we're just going to grab this IK target again and just kind of adjust it a little bit. But it basically mirrors the dimensions of this leg onto this one, and for the most part the positions. This is kind of an awkward model to work with, but so this is an extreme case. If you were working with like a standard, humanoid shape, or even a quadruped, the cat rigger is a really handy tool for this. Shout out to Zed, who showed me the cat rigger, and I use it for all the things. Okay, so now we have his legs. His lower body's pretty much good to go. So now we need to create his upper body. So next thing we want to do is we're going to add a spine. So go boop. Now that is way too many bones. Way too many bones. So let's click on the spine, the base of the spine object here. You see how these are all the individual segments? We're just going to click on this bottom piece here. And we're going to go, but the number of bones in the chain, that's too many. Let's just do, let's say 2. 2? 2 is probably okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now we just go back, same as last time, just adjust it. So raise this up, grab up here, pull it down, way down, grab this, pull it way down, just like that. And you probably lift this up a little bit, grab this, lift this up a little bit. So you want, the goal here is to get the base of this spine bone to be sitting on top of the pelvis. I mean, it's okay if it dips in a little bit. It's not going to affect you too much. Alrighty, so now we, just like the pelvis, you'll notice it's called here Cat Rig Hub 002. This is effectively another pelvis, but it's just, it knows like this pelvis is not as important as this bottom one here. So we're going to deal with this guy here. So just like before, we're going to adjust its size. His chest is a little bit thinner, so we're just going to do like that. And then we're going to widen it out a little bit. Maybe even make it a little bit thicker with 2 C's. Probably raise it up into his neck a little bit. And then now I can thin it out again. Now if you're wondering, hey, does this work with circles? No. No, it does not. So here's what's interesting. The blob model itself, right? His pelvis is here, but the center of his body, his actual spine would be about here-ish. So we're actually just going to take this pelvis, this entire, not the pelvis, sorry, the chest, and we're just going to slide it back a little bit. Probably like that. And then now you can take this spine piece, and we can widen this out now. So it fills up more of his chest, more of his fat belly. And even widen out this piece here, make him just like that. And then we're going to do the same, Actually, we don't need this spine bone to do anything, so we just need the chest now. And I think for the most part that will achieve our purposes. Now we have to add an arm. So just go, boop, add an arm, and it pops one in. And just like with the leg, for starters, this arm is enormous. But we don't need 2 bones in the arm because he's just going to have little stick arms, right? So we're just going to go, you only need 1 bone in the chain. Now you say even though it's set to 1 bone, we still have a bone here and we have a bone here. So this bone here, this is your collarbone. So it's this box here, you can uncheck it, and now it's gone. And then you have this arm. You put it back, and it comes back. And the same thing for here. This guy down here is the palm. Our dude, I mean, we don't necessarily need the palm. It's okay, you can have it if you want it, but it's not, for my purposes, it's not necessary. So I'm going to uncheck it. So now, we're just going to lower the collar, actually leave the collarbone anchored exactly where it is. We're going to grab this joint here, so click on this arm, and we're just going to move it down here, like that. And then we're going to take the collarbone, and we're going to shorten it. So that's X. Nope, that's Y. Nope, it's Z. There it is. Just going to shorten that out a little bit. So, because that's roughly where his shoulder would be. Granted, he's a blob and does not have a shoulder, but that's whatever. So we're just going to lift this guy up. Sometimes it helps to turn on the angle snap, which is this button up here, default A. And we're going like that, straighten it, then swing it around forward like that. Cool. And then now, you could probably just adjust the size of the arm bone, so we'll make it a little bit shorter. Squeeze it down like that. And like that. And then we're just going to rotate it a little bit so it basically fits this model really well. The goal here, the point of the cat rigger, and the way it makes rigging easy, is you want it to fit, you want these bones, because they work in bonds, you want them to fit the model as best as you can get them. You'll still have to do cleanup, like a little bit of cleanup, paint some weights, adjust some envelopes and such, just like you would with a normal rig, but this saves a lot of time with the rigging. And it allows you to make custom rigs. That's the key feature, right? Like, you can import the biped, like 3ds Max's default biped, but what happens when you need like an octopus, for example, right? Are you going to give it 600 legs? I mean, you could. It doesn't stop you from doing that. But cat rigger is designed to do that, right? So that's pretty much good to go. I would even make the collarbone shorter, just like that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll click, just like with the pelvis, you'll click on the chest, and we'll do add an arm. Boop. And look at that, as if by magic. Pops in a new one, just on the other side. We're good to go. So now his upper bone, lower body's good to go. Now we need to do his head. And for the head, it's a little bit different. Some people could do it with a tailbone, or yeah, adding a tail, but we're just going to add a bone here. So we'll pop in a bone. Looks like this. We're going to lift it up. This will be his neck. So we'll grab right here, and we'll just rename it, call it neck. And then we'll just adjust its length, maybe make it a little bit shorter. Yeah, about that. And again, because we don't want the neck coming out of his face, so we're going to move it back a little bit. Probably a little bit, ever so slightly behind the arms here, these Jimmy Jams. And then cool. And now we're just going to add one more bone. Boop. Creates a duplicate. Now you'll notice that when you hit the add bone, it offset it perfectly, right? And they don't overlap, and it's just sitting right on top. This is really good if you need to add multiple ones, but in our case, we don't. This bone is not neck bone 001. This will be the head. So we'll call it a head. Maybe you can even change the color if it helps your life. Here, we'll make it like aggressive red. Like just like that. And then this guy will be about yay tall. This wide. Or long, I guess. And then that wide. Because his head is kind of football shaped. So this will widen that out a little bit. And I'll lift that up. Boom. And then just like that, he's all rigged up. Easy. Now, the last thing you need to do is, so we'll grab the model now. Where is it? Is this it? This is the model. Here it is. And then we'll go with modify. I have no idea what this open sub div is, so I'm going to get rid of that. Modifier list. And we're going to have the skin. And from here, this is pretty much the same as just ordinary rigging. So you're going to add the skin modifier. He has the skin modifier, and you're going to add bones. You're going to click, ignore these. You're not going to click on the platforms, just the bones. And then you can go up here. You can hit Control-C or select children to enable it. And then click on this, and it selects everything in the hierarchy. Select. Boom. Now he's rigged up, just like that. The next thing that a lot of people are asking me is how do you do animations? So when you're using the cat rigger, the animating is a little bit different. To do cat rigging animation, first up, let's just take a look at his envelopes. So we'll click on him again, right click, display properties, disable see-through. He's nice and solid. We're also going to go display properties, regular properties, and we'll do show frozen in gray and uncheck that. So he's green. And let's do edit envelopes. And now we can see how the cat rigger painted his weights. So this is his arm. It barely affects his shoulder, affects his hand for sure, and a good chunk of his arm, which may or may not be what you want to achieve. So his rig will be a little bit, or actually a fair bit of weight painting, just because of the way his limbs work. Check his leg. So it's affecting his feet and a little bit of his leg, but it's also affecting a tad bit on this leg, which is less than ideal. So we're just going to go to grab this fall off and just pull it in a little bit. Probably like that. Maybe pull it in a little bit more, just so we can clean it up. You're still going to have to go in and paint what in. Oh, what happened here? Return. Come on. Oh, this is a good example. So right now what is this? Looks like it's the spine. The base of the spine is affecting his entire body. We don't want that, so we're going to shrink that right down. Shrink that right down. Yeah, round models in general to rig are always such a pain. So let's fix this leg. So grab that. Oh my god. I need to click on this vert, and I can't. Good old Autodesk. Nope. Alright, well, I'll deal with that later. But the main thing you want to avoid is having bones affecting other bones, or other parts of the model that they shouldn't be. So like this leg should not be affecting anything on this side of his body, or on this side of his this leg. Check this arm. This arm's pretty much being the same. Chest, that looks okay. Not so much. It's affecting his head too much. So we're just gonna pull these two down, so it doesn't affect his head so much. All right, good enough. I am unable to select this because this is a really annoying bug. Can I grab this vertex? There we go. Pull that in. There should be another one down here somewhere. There it is. Grab that, pull this in. So it's not affecting his other leg. Yeah. Alright. So now that we've cleaned up his rig ever so slightly, it's probably going to be a fair bit. Now for the moment you've been waiting for, the animation. So we're going to go into the motion layer, which is this thing here. And this setting doesn't look right, so we're going to go click on the pelvis, which is cat rig hub 001. And you'll see that it's changed now. Now we have the layer manager. So what you want to do here is, so 3ds Max uses layers to animate. So I believe Maya does it as well. First thing you want to do is the absolute layer, right? This creates this acts as like the base of your animation, I guess. Your main animation would go here, and then you can use other layers to do like minute changes. For example, let's say you have, well, I don't know, a fox running, but you also want him to be breathing, and you want his tail to kind of flail and flare around as he runs. So the main animation would be his legs moving as he runs, and then the adjustment layer, which is here, add layer, this plus L icon, and this would have his tail moving. And then what 3ds Max will do is it will solve for how all the animations need to play out, or how everything needs to move relative to each other based on the animation you have. So in our case here, actually no, we're going to do one thing first. We need to test the model and see how it bends. So once you rig it, you need to see how well it's moving and bending. The easiest way to do that is to first select all the children. So right-click Pelvis Hub, or Cat Rig Hub 001, and we're going to select Child Nodes, and then click this eyeball to hide everything, so it's invisible, right? And then we're going to click here. So once you add a layer, in this case it's the cat motion layer. So again, to do that, it's this ABS icon, add layer. Click on it, scroll down to the little green man running. Add the motion layer. Once you've added the layer, you go ahead and you hit this red button. Now you see his legs just like imploded. That's because his weights are all over the place. Now, this animation is going to be janky as hell. That's because it's not meant to work on a biped model that only has a thigh. And basically, this guy walks on his thighs. But, I mean, the model's, for the most part, bending the right way. It's kind of hard to tell with his legs because his legs are so nubby. But what I'm really checking is, like, are his shoulders distorting. So something's affecting his shoulder a little too much right here. And same thing right here. So it looks like his shoulder's clipping out. But that can be fixed with repainting your weights. So now what's important here is when you need to get rid of a layer, it's important you set this button, click this green button, make it red again to stop animations, and then delete layer, and add an absolute layer. So again, icon, add layer, ABS, absolute layer, and then click this again. Now you're recording animations. So we can go ahead and hit Cat Rig, select Child Nodes, re-enable them. Good, good. Now you can do auto key or set key. This is where you would do your keyframes. So you would just do, like, for starters, you select all your bones on frame 1, set key, add key. So you have a key here with his default state. And then you do whatever animation you need, right? One thing to note, when you're animating the legs, don't grab the leg bone itself and move it. What you want to do is, sure, 5 frames. Grab this target down here, this IK target, and slide that forward. You want to slide and rotate this as you need it. So slide this bone forward. All right, grab this bone, slide this bone back. You see it didn't pull his leg entirely. That's because the weight around his legs needs to be repainted for him, in my case. All right, go frame 15, we'll grab his shoulder. This one, usually you just want to rotate. You don't want to try to avoid moving bones. You just want to rotate the joints. Move his arm forward. Take this arm, move his arm back. Yeah, just break his shoulder. That's right. Yeah, looks good. Woo. Go another frame in. We'll take his chest and just bend that forward. 35 frames in. We'll take his pelvis. Rotate his entire pelvis back. 40, grab his head, let's rotate his head back, just snap that neck, yeah, there we go. And then turn off auto key, go back here. So you can see that's just how you animate. Now the last thing I want to show you guys is how you save the animation. So you have this animation layer, let's call it, I don't know, janky walk. Sure. So you click on the hub, and then go to modify. I promise I know what I'm doing. I lied, it's actually cat parent. And then modify. So you can cat rig load save. So this one you can open and load your rigs. I lied, you want to save animations though. Here it is, it's down here. So you click on cat rig parent. So again, if you forgot what this is, it's the triangle thing on the floor. This guy here. Click on this clip manager down here. Scroll down, and you can open a clip. So this is if you've already made a rig or an animation, you want to apply it to this rig, or you can save a clip. So save animated clip. Sure. Whatever. I'll throw it on my desktop for the time being. Blah 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 blah. Save. And then you want to leave these the way they are. Save. And now you have a clip. Hooray for clips. So what I was showing you before, if you click on this guy, and you go to modify. Nope, I lied again. If you do modify on and rig, modify rig parent, so rig parent, modify, you can do cat rig load save. So you can save this rig and apply it to a new model if you need to, or you can open a rig that you've made before. And if you go to the motion layer, this motion tab up here, then you can save and open animations. The reason this is useful is you can take the same janky animation and apply it to an entirely new rig, even one that has extra bones. Now, the extra bones may not animate properly, and that's okay because you have to do a little bit of cleaning up. But for the most part, that's pretty much how you use the cat rigger. It's relatively straightforward. It's just a matter of knowing where all these things are because it's pretty obscure and hidden. Because, like, it's hard to find videos on it. If you need a reference, Milos Cherne, I will put a link to his channel in the description. But he's really good too for cat rigging tutorials. He does talk a little bit fast, but you get used to it. Just throw subtitles on and you're good to go. And just as a bonus tip, my explanation is pretty much over, but as a bonus tip, you can actually go up here to graph editors, and then you can go, oh, there we go, curve editor. Just going to pull that up on here. This guy here has all the frames. So you select, ideally you'd select all your bones, and then you can, oh, no, come on. Scroll down, here's all the keys. Now, if you notice that your animation is kind of like stuttering toward the end of your animation here, one thing you want to check is, so you open this curve editor. So again, that's graph editors, curve editor. Then you're going to go editor here inside the curve window, right here. Sorry, edit, not editor. Controller, out of range types. And then, so by default, it's set to constant. You want it to do loop. And what this does is it if you recall what Kim taught us, it recoils or resets the curve here. Although, granted, when you do this, make sure you select all your bones. I only have the hub, the pelvis selected, and so it only set the outer range types for the pelvis itself. Oops, that's scale. I want the zoom. Where's the zoom? There it is. So yeah, that's the curve editor. If you have any more questions, just hit me up in class, I guess. But I hope this helps. Sorry it takes so long, but there you go. Go Hamskis.